Hello, it is Sarah Kirk with Yoga for Classrooms, and I am here with a mindful moment for the first week of school. So, we know the first week is full of excitement and anticipation, and maybe sometimes a few big emotions for some students and teachers. We're all adjusting to the new start of the year, right? We have new teachers, new classmates, new routines, new expectations. And all of that, while exciting, can also be a bit nerve-wracking and overwhelming. So, adding mindful moments into our day right off the start of the year is super powerful and can really help ground our students in a time that can be a little bit overwhelming and overstimulating. So that's why today we are going to be talking about one simple, well, really two simple. We're going to combine two simple mindful moments that you can use during the first week of school and beyond, of course. But I recommend introducing these to our students right away during the first week of school to really help students and teachers and all educators feel grounded and really prepare their mind and body for learning. All right, so the mindful moment is going to combine two simple yoga for classrooms favorites. We are going to combine sitting mountain and desk rest. So together, these really take less than 2 or 3 minutes, but it helps really build body awareness, practice self-regulation, and it's a great transition to learning. So let's walk through these two yoga for classroom activity cards. So, beginning with sitting mountain. So, remember, sitting mountain is really our focus, our home base, our centering posture. Many of our activity cards start with us being in sitting mountain. So having a good understanding of sitting mountain is really important. So that's one of the reasons why I recommend introducing this one right at the start of the year, because you really want your students to know exactly what you mean when you say sitting mountain. And sitting mountain is pretty simple, but what it asks us to do is to sit tall in our chair with both feet resting on the floor. So when I first started, I had my legs crossed. So I uncrossed my legs. My feet are firm on the floor in front of me, and I'm sitting kind of towards the front of my chair. So we don't want to be leaning way back in our chair. We want to make sure we're bringing our back and our bottom away from the back of the chair to make sure our feet are flat on the floor and my posture, my back is straight and tall. Okay, so your knees should be directly above your ankles. Sometimes we call that 90-degree angle, depending on the age of the student you're working with. And we want to make sure that our hands are just rested on our thighs. And then we can really feel kind of that core strengthen. We can feel the back straightened up. If you want, you can do a couple of neck or shoulder rolls. This is a really good place to kind of roll out those shoulders, roll out that neck once we're in that strong, steady mountain pose. Often I direct students to really imagine lengthening your spine up towards the ceiling or to the sky, but also while relaxing those shoulders. Okay? Once we get here, we're going to take just a couple of slow, deep breaths in through your nose and out. As you breathe in, you can imagine you're growing tall like a mountain. And then out, but staying steady and strong. You might lead your students through that breath a couple of more times, really helping your students and yourself to notice how it feels to sit really tall, to sit really calm, really strengthened from the inside and ready. Okay, so this is our good, strong foundational posture. Seems simple, but if we can get this down, then it really helps us to just ground into our readiness to learn the next activity, whatever we're transitioning to. Another one that we might sometimes use in kind of a similar way is our desk rest. So this has a start in our sitting mountain. So we're already already there. And then we're going to transition to a really calming, restorative posture where we're resting our head on our desk. So once we're here in that sitting mountain, we're going to make sure that our chair is pushed back just a little ways from our desk. And then you're going to rest your forearms on the desk, one slightly in front of the other. And then we're going to inhale really deeply. And as we exhale, we're going to lay our forehead down to rest on our folded arms. Okay, so have your students making sure they're resting that forehead on their folded arms. And then once they're there, we're going to instruct them to close their eyes if they're comfortable with that. And then do some of those slow, deep breaths again. Okay, so from that desk rest, we're going to then really begin deep those slow and deep breaths. And we're going to begin inviting both your head and your neck and your shoulders, eventually, hopefully, your entire body to really rest in and completely relax into that desk rest posture. Okay. So when you're in this posture, it's hard for me to do while also talking to you. But if you're doing it or you're instructing your students to do it with their forehead down on their arms, they're really going to begin to feel, hopefully, some of that stress and tension just melt away. You can leave students here for as long as they need. It can be just a brief moment of a couple of deep breaths, feeling that relaxation all the way from the top of your forehead down to your neck, down to your shoulders, all the way down. Or you can leave them there for several minutes, giving them that really solid reset. That all just depends on how much time you have before you need to transition to the next activity. Desk rest can be really powerful, even if you just have 30 seconds to get into that posture. So again, a really good one to introduce at the beginning of the year so that when you use that language of desk rest, they know exactly what you mean. They know we need to get into that strong mountain, put our arms on our desk, rest the forehead into the arms, and then begin to slow, deep breaths to really let that stress and tension really melt away. Now, the great thing about both desk rest and sitting mountain is, like I said, these are our foundational postures for many things. It's our foundational postures for all of our imagination vacation. So all of our purple cards will have you at the beginning of the script. It will say begin in desk rest or sitting mountain. Okay, so the purple cards are imagination vacations. These are like our visualizations. And they ask students to get into one of these two postures. So if you introduce these early, they're going to know exactly what to do when you use these others. And you can use them as a beginning for many things. So introducing sitting mountain and desk rest to start out the year is a great way to not only bring, some mindful moments to this kind of stressful start of the school year, but it helps us throughout the school year to really pause, regulate our bodies, and transition into learning. I also think it's really valuable to start the year with mindful moments because we're sending that really important message that our classroom is a place where we take care of ourselves, where we take care of each other, and that's just going to really create that culture of feeling calm, connected, ready to learn. And then we know everything else becomes a little bit easier once we have that foundation in our room. So remember, first week of school is not going to be perfect, but I hope that you can add these small, intentional, mindful moments into your classroom, into your day to help build that trust, build that connection, build that regulation right from the start. And maybe each day of the week of that first day of school, you begin with either sitting mountain or desk rest. Use just those couple of minutes to build that foundation right from the start. And hopefully, you see a calmer classroom, students that are ready to learn, students that are grounded, and hopefully, it leads to a joyful, well regulated school year because that's what we are all about here at Yoga for Classrooms. So, thanks for joining. Let us know if you use desk rest or sitting mountain as you start the school year, and we're wishing you a wonderful start to the year and a wonderful year full of intentionality, mindful moments, and Of course, joy. Thanks so much for joining me, and we'll see you again soon.